Alrighty guys, so first of all, before I show you the print, I do just want to show you the actual model and give credit. All credit for this model goes to TTB Studios. I got his design. He's cut Moya up into 4 pieces, so it's easier to print. He's just on Thingiverse, so yeah, he's done a great job here. So there is another version of this print on Thingiverse by a different user, which is all in one piece. And so if you want to do it all in one, you can. Otherwise, I'm using this guy's because you can flip it on its flat side. So I'll show you in Cura. So you flip the tail end here up on its flat side. So that is this piece. Flip it up 90 degrees on its flat, so you don't actually have to use supports for all of this, because if you look, this is actually off the bed. So it needs supports all under here and here and some of in here, and it's just supports are handy, but they're also a nightmare when it comes to cleaning it all up. So the less cleaning you have to do, the better. So that's the little design there. So you've got the front end, sort of the middle torso-y bit of the ship, and then you've got the tail and the fins. Now, unfortunately, because Farscape is quite a small show, it hasn't got a huge following. There isn't any much designs on here. I kind of hoped for one that maybe had the tail end open, because in the show when she, I say she because she is actually a living ship, when she does like a hyperdrive sort of thing, her tail end opens up, so this bit all opens out to here, and then all the sort of sci-fi hyper juices come out of here, and she goes really fast. So yeah, I'll show you the print in a minute. I've got 2 pieces printed so far. I'll show you how they've come out, and then I'll do another little video after that when all of the pieces are done and all glued together, just so I can show you a bit of how it's all going to look. Cheers. Alrighty guys, so here's the 2 prints so far. So that's the sort of nose and torso of the ship. Now, the bed leveling issue and the bed stick issues I was having has all been fixed. I've got quite a nice bottom here. It's super smooth. I'm not sure what these little pocks are. Let me see if I can get a focus on that. Nah, shitty camera. And I have a little bit of belt issues still. I'm waiting for a new belt to come in the mail, actually, to fix that. I'm going to have to fill this little gap in the bottom here, along the bottom, with some filler. Not sure why that's actually happened on that layer. Sort of skipped it. This one's come out with the exact same settings and everything. The bottom layer is not there, which is good. The layer seems to be a lot better. I turned down my extrusion rate. I was getting this issue early in my printing days with sorry, this shocking camera, if you can see, there we go, all these little holes. Apparently that's under extrusion, so not enough plastic is coming out of the nozzle. So I turned it up to 1.1%. And I was getting this weird sort of bubbling, so I thought maybe that was due to over extrusion. So I've turned it down to 105, and that's where this one's come out. And I'm getting the little holes again. So I've turned it back up to 108, and I'm doing a new print with that to see if maybe 108 is better, so 1.08%. Sorry, 108% and 110%, not 1.1. I'm thinking maths numbers. So, yeah. This one, that's just from the glue, but it's really nice and smooth. It doesn't have the weird pocks that the other one had. I'm not sure, that might have just been plastic issue. The one that's printing out at the moment is the little through tail and the 2 fins on the side. It's looking quite nice. The print's going quite well so far. I'll show you in a sec. So that's just going to go in there. Third bit's going to go here, obviously. Yeah. I'll show you the print. It's just started. Alrighty. So here's the printer so far. Got a little print going on in there. She's a bit noisy at the moment. The table I've got her on is not absorbing any of the vibrations, which might actually be why I'm getting some of those bumpy lines as well. Might not just be the belt, might be a bit of vibration. So I do need to figure out a solution for that. I've also chucked on some more upgrades. I put the Y belt tensioner. Sorry, I get the Y and X axis mixed up. Pretty sure this is the Y belt tensioner, which just makes it so when I'm getting those zigzags, I can actually just give a little twist, and it tightens the belt for me to stop that. And I just noticed that the belt seems to be having little bumps in it, so maybe it's starting to stretch. I'm going to order some new belts soon when the place near me has more in stock. Some reinforced fiberglass. You can also get reinforced steel ones. Make sure if you do buy extra belts, you get GT2 teeth, and that'll fit the pulleys on and the motors on this. Any other upgrades? Oh yeah, I chucked these little twisty things on. It just makes, when I level the bed, makes it a bit easier. Instead of having to get in there with a wing nut, you just turn that. Makes it nice and easy. There's the spring caps. They were supposed to go on top of the springs in here with this upgrade, but they all printed funky, so I didn't really want to chuck them on. That's when I sort of started noticing all the issues I had with it all. So yeah, I'll let you know. I'll put the last little bit of this video up when Moya's all printed and put together and sanded and everything. Hey guys, so I realised I've got to take a picture or a video of it before I actually started to Bondo it. But here's the print when it's all been super glued together. There we go. Now it's covered in resin car filler stuff at the moment. But yeah, so it came out really nicely. I've super glued it all together, and then I spent a good hour or so sanding it just to get all the joins, whether they all super glued together, filled. And smoothed in nicely so you can't actually tell where they all joined, and then to stand all the layers from the 3D printing down. Didn't quite get it smooth. Some bits I got quite smooth with sanding, but because of the shape and things like that, I couldn't get it all the way there with sanding. And I had a layer issue on that first one. I think I showed you guys, and a couple holes from under extrusion. Now fixing it up to the 108 on the flow in Cura, or the extrusion multiplier. So I had it on 110, it was doing too much. I put it down to 1.5, I started getting the same issues I had before I even put it up. So then I put it back up to 108 and it came out perfectly, didn't have any issues at all. But the previous pieces, so like this piece and this piece, were printed at the 105 and I had the lines and issues. So I had to get some car filler. Now I got recommended using spray putty, which is like car filler in a can. You can also get it as like in a tin and paint it on. But it was very expensive when this stuff was on sale, so I just thought I'd grab this and give it a shot. Because I've seen people use it for bigger projects like masks and things like that. When they have to print them in lots of pieces, they use this stuff to fill the gaps in. So yeah, I used some of this. It's the first time I've ever used it. I was originally going to coat the whole thing, but instead I've just decided to sort of rub it into all the little cracks. Let's see if I can get in there. So there, little cracks along here. That was the big one especially. It went all the way along. Fill that in and fill all the little sort of layer lines and stuff like that. And then once it's all dried, I'm going to sand it all down. Now this, if you do use this stuff, I am outside, so it might be the weather, but it does stink, so make sure you do it outside. And also it does dry quite quickly, so you've got about 5 minutes to use it if you've mixed it up well. And yeah, I'll show you it once I've sanded it down, and I'm going to spray it with some primer and then give it a copper spray coat, and it should look nice. Cheers. Looking awesome. Yeah, I'll pick it up. Now, a little tip with the Bondo: make sure you sand the crap out of it when you use it. I thought it was perfectly smooth, and there is pox, little holes all throughout it, heaps. But like, I don't mind too much, because this spray paint is supposed to mimic hammered copper, so it's supposed to have that sort of holy, pocky sort of look to it. But if you wanted a nice smooth finish, which is half the reason you use the Bondo, you don't want that, so sand the hell out of it if you do use it. Apart from that though, it got rid of all of the little layer lines and all the holes from the actual printing, so that worked perfectly. I just need to put a little bit less on next time, I think, just in those lines, and sand the hell out of it. But yeah, that's the whole project. 3D printing using the Bondo. Yeah, turned out really well. Cheers.